It's Re-Up Alex.
It's Primo.
This is David ZUNNI Balagizi.
And it's the Re-Up Podcast. Yeah, so we're going to talk to our first comedian here, a person who I've known for a few years now through my travels in my hometown of Alexandria, Virginia. Really excited for this. We're going to dig deep into what it means to be a comic, how he got to this place, where he's going, and some of the accolades that he's achieved on the way, some funny stories, and just a little bit of background. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, excited.
Yeah, man.
Man, what's the last comedian that you saw live?
Live?
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle.
You saw Dave Chappelle?
I saw Dave Chappelle when he did that run at Radio City Hall when he had all the different guests. It was Dave Chappelle and Childish Gambino that night. That's the last crazy live comedian that I saw. I don't necessarily like going to comedy clubs. Yeah. Because of what I see. Where is this young man? Is he close?
He's close.
Okay.
He's close, yeah.
Because there are a lot of things we need to talk to him about.
Yeah.
In music, we'll just translate it to music. In rap, you hear a lot of punch-in artists, which means you get a lot of incoherent lyrics, right? Mm-hmm. Something is happening in comedy, especially in comedy clubs and on social media. I think there's one young man maybe I see who does like sets. I haven't seen a comedy set in a while. I haven't seen like somebody do a 60-minute special in a while. I see a particular form of comedy where I'm talking to the audience, crowd work as they like to call it. I'm not taking my lady out so you can talk to niggas I can talk to niggas in the club and make fun of you, nigga. Give me some unique observation. What happened to the styles of comedy? What happened to the absurdists? What happened to the physical comedians? What happened to the observationalists? What happened to the family comics? What happened to the insult comics? Where are the styles of comedy? Now it's like, where you from? Oh, fuck Dallas. Like what?
Yeah. It's like live roasting session is usually what they end up
doing. Nigga, that was middle school. We was live roasting in middle school.
Yeah, that's usually what it is. I mean, there's a few different forms of comedy, right? There's like storytelling. There's situational stuff.
I ain't seen that shit in a minute.
Yeah. It's difficult. I feel like social media has also changed things because now, and don't get me wrong, I love a lot of there are some really in-depth Instagram comedians who are doing like crazy skits.
This is true.
Doing crazy editing, and they only have 1 minute and 30 seconds. And by the end of it, I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Like it has opened up that lane. Like I do really, really love a lot of that stuff.
That's true.
But when I see them transfer things to live, it never hits the same.
No.
My last comedian that I saw was Therapy Gecko.
Who the fuck is that?
The guy who wears a green gecko suit and face paint, and he goes on Instagram and he just gives people therapy sessions. He's not licensed at all. And he like takes phone calls. It's pretty funny. It was hilarious live, bro. That shit was crazy. One thing I noticed about comedy shows is you get drunk as shit, too. I didn't notice how much you could drink just hearing someone fucking yap. Like, it's not like a concert where you're like, bobbing your head and shit. It's like drink after drink after drink. And then by the end of it, I was
in the comedy club fucked up.
Yo, I was fucked up in the comedy club. That shit was crazy.
You in the comedy club.
Yo, I was yeah, that was definitely me. That was definitely
holy shit.
Oh my god.
Oh man. Yeah, there were I'm very excited to talk to
ZUNNI.
I think we've been pretty much in the music.
Yeah.
We talked to another interviewer in our last podcast, but like I feel like this is a different medium that we're going into. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very curious. Definitely. You think he's gonna be funny?
That's what I'm wondering, because it's like this isn't a comedy podcast, so I'm wondering how comedic it's really going to be, but I'm excited for...
Before he even gets here, is he a comedian?
Yeah, he's a comedian. That's what he does 9 to 5, yeah.
He's not a content creator who's funny.
He is a comedian and a content creator is what I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, because he does do live shows, DC, Baltimore, all the time, open mics. Yeah.
So he might be funny then.
He's a funny guy. Yeah. I mean, definitely on the situational side of things. Unless, he has a video out that kind of just talks about Karens and it's a live, video from him doing comedy.
That's hilarious.
And
that was funny.
There's a Karen who's kind of like heckling him, and he just goes back and forth with her for like 5 minutes straight. It's pretty dope. Man.
All right. I'm looking forward to him, man. I'm
excited. Should be a good one. Wake and Bake with BMO.
Oh, yeah, we back, baby.
Yeah, we back. He's back.
Yeah. True. Me and the lady of the house, we have returned with season 5 of Wake and Bake with BMO. Well, actually, when I was making clips and shit, and just looking at my reels, it kind of dawned on me that I've been on break the entirety of this show. I don't know if Wake and Bake with BMO was on when we first started doing interviews.
I don't think so.
We might have just wrapped up season 4 by the time we got to that. So I'm very interested. I've been running a very intentional play of trying to build like this network of shows because I think I'm supposed to be a broadcaster and I got some goals. So I'm very interested to see how, if any audience members from the show up to the Wake and Bake joint, man.
Yeah.
Or if some of the Wake and Bake joints come over to, or what they already have. I get comments often about you. It's great though. Leave my man alone. Let my man be. It's because you're from Virginia. That's all.
Yeah, they always be trying to roast.
What's up with that, man?
Man, I was actually thinking about this the other day. I was like, I've never heard someone from Northern Virginia who lives in one city be like, oh, I love Chantilly, but you're from Alexandria. Like, with the City of Haters thing, like, we are actually the epicenter of it. And where everyone in the DMV actually got it from. I feel like it's Virginia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think Zuni's outside.
That's really funny. I've never heard a nigga from Chantilly be like, fuck Burke.
Here we go.
I doubt it, bro. Come on in, man.
Popping in the middle, yeah.
No,
you good. Good, man.
Oh my god! All right, let's
come on in, man.
I sit in there. There you go. Oh, this is cool. This is by far the best podcast setup I think I've ever seen.
Word?
By far.
Oh, wow.
You guys are killing it already.
Well, look at that.
Welcome.
Test. They can hear me?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Perfect. Okay.
We were actually just talking about Northern VA, right?
Yep.
And how I looked at some places in Northern VA and I was like, you know what? I'm not ready to retire. And then I heard that y'all met in Northern Virginia.
I met him in Northern Virginia.
That's where you be?
Yep.
I work in Old Town, Alexandria. Like I help with a coffee shop, ESPT Coffee, best coffee on King Street.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So
It's great.
And then I help the owner out a lot there, and I'll do shows there on Sundays for the owner. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, that's where I met Alex. Yeah.
Bet. Where you from then?
Do you give a stage name? I don't know if I call you Alex.
No, you can go for
Okay,
Alex,
cool.
yeah.
What would be your stage
I'd
name?
be like Gangsta
Alex.
Killer,
Okay,
1, 2, 3.
Re-up Alex.
Where you from though?
Well, you talking about ethnically, or you talking about?
Let's do both.
I do both. All right, so my parents are Congolese, DRC. They moved here in '93. My father went from Congo to PG County.
Okay.
Exactly. I know that's a weird.
So I do have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead,
be
go
your
ahead.
father for a second.
Say it again?
I said be your father. Answer this question. How the fuck did he find PG County? What the fuck, bro?
I don't even, bro. You know what it was? So he wanted to be a pastor, right? He was a pastor. So he was like, so his friend heard about this Bible college, and he told my father, and then my father was like, okay, well, I'll go there. I'll go to PG County, Maryland, and then I was born outside. I was born in DC, around Southeast DC, and then I started living around Oxon Hill. PG.
Okay, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. The Congo.
The Congo, yeah.
You been
DRC.
back?
Say again?
You been back?
Never been there. No, never been there.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. Right. I'm missing that. I should probably go.
I mean, man, look, you got the option, I guess. Can you?
Well, I mean, I guess I could.
Yeah.
I guess I could, yeah. I guess I could.
Yeah. I don't know.
Passport?
I don't have a passport.
So no, I guess you could.
I do need a passport. Yeah, that's
nowhere without that.
True. All right,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Wow, wanted to be a pastor. And
Yeah,
then you
man.
became a comedian.
I know, isn't that disappointing?
No, not
It's a weird
I was about to say it makes sense.
Does it? Well,
It does.
You know, my thing is my father, man. He and by the way, because I know the questions are gonna happen. He did pass away last year, so this is something that yeah. So this is something that you know, like I more so cherish, you know, but yeah, he he wanted to be a pastor, and I looked up to that. I was like, dang, I almost wanted to be a pastor too. I was like, yo, he's killing it. He was very animated, very funny guy. So he'd be on stage talking about Jesus, and he'd be very animated with it. And I was like, I want to do that. But we always wanted to be like our father, but we're not quite like it.
I get it.
And like Jackie Chan's father was a spy. So like he played spies in all the movies. Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, literally. So that's why he was like, I'm gonna just be a spy on 3, 2, 1, and he's a spy.
Whoa.
So yeah, that's why I started. Yeah, so I was like, I guess I can't be well, I still could be, but it's like, well, I'm not a pastor, so I'll just be a comic.
Well, it makes sense to me because when I think about like some of my favorite comedians, Richard Pryor, and Bill Cosby, they did a lot of like religious-based, Bible-based comedy.
Yeah.
And then when Alex sent me your stuff, that's the first thing I saw you doing. Is like, what if? It was like Jesus had resurrected, and you were doing like everybody's perspective, Matthew, Nick, and John and stuff. And I was like, that's very, very Pryor-ish. That's very Cosby-like. Like, it makes sense.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love one thing. I
don't got to talk about
realized.
Cosby though. I get it though.
I guess we don't have to. He's a great comic, but hey, we can talk about his character later, I guess. But one thing that I learned is like, you got to study the greats. You have to study the people that were before you. Yeah. And so like Richard Pryor, I actually have like, it's weird. I have Cosby what is it called? The vinyl. I have Cosby vinyls in my car literally right now. So if somebody wanted to rob my car and they just see Cosby vinyls, like, this guy's a creep.
They're in the trunk.
They're in the trunk, actually. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't have a vinyl, so I have to find one, but. Yeah, I definitely, I've watched already a few stuff of Cosby, of course, with Pryor. Eddie Murphy is, I think, the greatest. And Dave Chappelle is my personal favorite, so I watch all those greats and stuff like that.
Dave Chappelle, of course.
Yeah, of course. Can't go wrong with Dave.
We talked about him earlier. BMO saw Dave Chappelle live.
I did. I saw him on radio
live too. I saw him on the Netflix. He had a recent Netflix one called What's in a Name. Well, I guess it's the one before the recent one. And I met him backstage after that. Yeah, that was surreal. Where
was that at?
It was... he went to Duke Ellington.
That's right.
Which is probably not too far from here. Yeah. And so how it worked, you want to hear the story?
Of course we do, man.
Okay. Okay, this is live, by the way. This is I like the way we just started it. You gotta do it. I've had podcasts where it was like 3, 2, 1, and I was like, you don't have to act this way. This is like a very back home chill. This is obviously successful. I hope I follow you guys because y'all need a follow. I'll tag it and all that. But regardless of the fact. So my friend who I met doing comedy, his name is Mikkel Exum, very funny guy. Y'all should check him out. But he went to Duke Ellington. He met Chappelle back in 2017.
Yeah. Okay.
Because Dave will go back to Duke Ellington every once in a while. Yeah. And then after that, Dave Chappelle, we heard that Dave Chappelle, he had something happened to where he said something transphobic.
Of course.
And in his school that he went to is pretty, it's art. So a lot of the students was like, we don't like this guy. They're going to name the school after, or name the theater after him. And he was like, they were like, no. They were like, just basically, all the students were like, we don't want that, whatever. So he was like, he'll just come and talk to the students and, and just, he won't, essentially the Netflix spoiling, if you haven't watched it, he named it something else. It wasn't his actual name. But during that whole recording, my friend was like, you want to come to it? I was like, sure. I remember I had a date that night too. I had a date.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, she was like, are we I'm like, no, I got to see Chappelle. I was like, I'm not,
No.
Why am I seeing you? I'd rather see
Why am I seeing you?
No, she's great, by the way. She has a kid, by the way. Now she's good. Nice. So I was holding her back, but anyway, she's light right now. She's great in life, but
thank Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle is doing numbers. He's doing miracles in my life. But so I missed the date, and I went to it. They had our phones locked up, and dude, to see, I look up. These are the reasons why I started comedy. Honestly, Dave Chappelle's the reason why I started. So to see somebody that I've seen on YouTube my whole life, to see them in person, he hit the mic on his knee. It was like, oh my goodness, this is Chappelle. Crazy. I was like, I almost cried. And what's so funny about Chappelle specifically, he does comedy like an art. Like it was funny. It was also sad. He had moments where he even cried. It was like angry. I was angry. He went to Africa, so I was angry for him. And then it was like this beautiful display of all these different emotions. And I was like, what the? This dude was like a true artist, which is what we all should aspire to be in whatever you're doing. Is being that. And it's just, I remember it being like an hour or 2 hours, just that. And then after that, my friend was like, okay, so I'm about to meet Chappelle. I'll see you when you go home. And I was like, what? I was like,
Time out, my brother.
you think that I'm about to leave and go home and not see Chappelle? So, and this was around the time I think that he got tackled. I don't know if you remember. So he had like security on security. He had like 5 layers of security guards.
Yeah.
And I just remember, the idea was I had to meet Chappelle, but he was probably talking to TMZ and talking to all these other, these Washington, D.C. news networks. So I just remember just, talking to his first layer of security guards, making them laugh. And after I made them laugh, I made them feel comfortable. And then went to the next layer of security guards, and you start joning on them. You're like, oh, you look too big, whatever. You just start making fun of him. And he make fun of this. And then eventually we're like maybe one security guard layer, and then it was like Chappelle was like right there.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I know. It was like my talent got me this close to Chappelle.
Yeah, you had to pull something out for the final boss.
Dude, it was like, and then I remember seeing him because he walked from one classroom to like the next, and just like this like circle full of like yes men, and they just like walk and follow him wherever he went. And I just remember just being in shock. I was like, wow, he's right there, like this guy. And long story short, at that point the security was kind of chill. So we end up going to the stage, and then I remember just talking, I saw Radio Raheem, Radio Raheem. Yeah, and I was talking to Radio Raheem. He died?
No, Radio Raheem, not the actor. Hold on, who you talking about?
I was talking about the reporter.
Oh, no, never mind.
Is that what I said? Okay.
I'm talking about the character from the movie.
So he died? Like,
No.
I start crying on the phone again. But yeah, I just remember talking to Radio Raheem and just being like, you the famous guy. He was like, he was drunk out of his mind. So he probably doesn't remember this. But and I remember finally being able to talk to Chappelle. I just remember, my friend introduced me to him, and he was like, yo, Dave, this is the guy that made me start comedy. My friend, he said that I made him start comedy. Well, I helped him out when he started comedy. And then Dave Chappelle was like, that's nice, whatever. And then we all took a picture, because he has a white cameraman. I think his name is Candy Man. Very good photographer. Candy T-Man, something like that.
Cool.
Check out his stuff. It's really dope. But I remember as he was about to take the picture, I remember I had my mask on. And then, the camera was like, you should take off your mask and take this picture. And then Chappelle he was like, nah, it's cool, I have COVID. Everybody just dodged, bro. It was like Chappelle just did a joke, bro. I was like right in front of me. Chappelle just did a joke. And I just remember just like, I didn't know where that picture is. That picture's probably gone somewhere, but I just remember just like, that was like the best moment. One of the best moments of my life was just being around like a hero of mine, you know what I'm saying? So,
and he didn't disappoint.
Right, it was beautiful. He's a nice guy, down to earth. I met a few celebrities. I don't know if he had a Pauly Shore. I should say. I'm not gonna say it wasn't the best. So I'm not gonna insult him.
Pauly Shore doesn't seem like that fun of a guy to be honest with you.
But I met a few celebrities, and doing comedy, and it's like a few of them are like terrible, but sometimes it's just like the nature. Or maybe you don't know what they're doing. Maybe they have things going on in their life. You know what I'm saying? I'm very understanding. So it happens. So life happens sometimes.
It does. Take me back to the moment you knew you wanted to do comedy. You said it was a Chappelle thing. What was the thing? You remember?
Okay, I'll make this. What it was is, okay, so first of all, it was like, I was weird. I was always funny, but I was like weird. And the type of weird I was is like, it was like, I had ideas and stuff in my head, but I just felt like whenever I said it, people would either lie, or people would be like, oh, this is weird. They'd be like, what the heck? This is like a weird thing. But then it was also like, I could never have a conversation with somebody and they weren't laughing.
Right.
It was like whenever I said something, people would laugh. And it was like, I meant what I said. I'm not trying to be funny. And it's like people can never take me serious.
Yeah.
So it went to the point where when I got to high school, I was a very energetic kid, but when I got to high school, I was very reserved. I don't know what happened to me. I just got reserved and I got quiet. And then I was able, I remember this, every year from 9th to 12th grade, it was like I was just so quiet. I ended up getting good grades. But I was playing football. I love football, but I sucked. I was so bad at football. I loved it so much. Yeah. And I just remember just being so depressed because it was almost like I was hiding myself. I wasn't being artistic. I wasn't being myself. So then eventually it got to a point. I remember I started working at Auntie Anne's when I was 17. And at that point I was watching Chappelle. Yeah. And I just remember the whole idea I was a cashier. So the whole idea, I want to get tipped, right? And because I want to get tipped, I got to make them laugh. Sometimes that's just how I know how to make it work. Right. Yeah. So I remember making people laugh. It's a point where it was easy. And it was I wasn't even trying. And I just could make people laugh. And I was like, oh, this might be good. And then maybe a year after that, I remember I had people like, yo, Dave, you're very funny. And I was like, I guess. then I just remember like a friend telling me, you should do stand-up. And I was like, I guess I could. But then I just remember watching Chappelle and how he started. And I was like, wait, if he could do it, I could definitely stand there. I was like, yeah, I could. I mean, I'm not saying I'm as funny as Chappelle. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that, like, the fact that he could do it, it's like, then what's stopping me?
Oh, I hear what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? And then my brother asked I always ask my brother for things. And I was like, what do you think about me doing stand-up? And he was like, yeah, I think you could do it. At that point, I was like, I'm doing it. I'm doing stand-up. And then I found out about the open mics, but it was during COVID. So it was like, I couldn't really perform. So I just was writing jokes, and I started doing TikToks at that point. And then I started growing a following out of nowhere. It was like literally, I wasn't even trying to do social media, but it just ended up working out. And then I ended up getting a lot of followers. And maybe a few months after that, then I started actually telling jokes on stage. And then now that's my job. I'm a comedian.
So how does the TikTok followers thing work? Like, is it just you post a video and it becomes popular and goes viral, and then you start seeing this trickle, or did you have to follow up with other videos trying to keep going viral to get more followers?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, my thing was this, like, my brother started doing it. He had 60,000 followers. Oh, okay. And I was like, if he, like, that's the same thing with Chappelle. It's like, if he could do it, I could do it. Like, that's my brother. I grew up with this guy. You know, we're just as funny.
Was he doing comedy, or was he just...
Well, he was just like, like just doing funny, like, like Madea or something. Like, he just like kind of mimic what they were saying. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So it was basically that. So, but my funny was more so like just like kind of like dancing or like, I don't know, like it was just something that I found funny, and then I just posted it. So my whole idea, my thought process was like, okay, I'm gonna just post every day. I heard that that's how it worked, so I was like, I'm gonna just post every day, whatever I think is funny, and I'm gonna just post it. And then probably 10 days into it, I went viral. I remember my video had like 700,000 views, I think, or it was 700,000, something like that. And I was like, oh, I went viral. Like I was like, I didn't know that was possible. Like, I went from having like 35 followers to like 2,000. And then the next day, like 5,000. The next day, like 10,000. And I was like, it was like 2 weeks after that, I had 30,000 followers. And I was like, that's because I was posting every day, just keeping the same niche. And then from that point, and then I just kept on posting. And then I think like probably the next month, maybe 100,000.
Wow.
And then I was like, what the heck? And then now I'm like, I mean, I don't really post as much. I probably should, and I could get paid a lot more, but I'm broke. But I have like 800,000 followers on TikTok, and it was it's just crazy just to get where I'm at. You know, God is good. You know, that's all I can say. God is good.
Damn.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, that definitely answers.
Oh, okay, cool. Because I was like, I kind of went off on it.
That definitely answers my question. So what would you explain your style of comedy as? Is it more situational? Is it storytelling? Is it roasting the audience, or a mix of those things? Or
well, I mean, I guess you're talking about stand-up.
Stand-up.
It's a good question. I mean, one of the ideas with comedy specifically is like certain people are different. You know what I'm saying? Certain kids are fast. Certain kids, take time to learn things. My thing is, I'm taking my time with comedy. So I can't even answer that question 100% because it might change.
Okay.
But for right now, what I've noticed is like, I like to talk about deep things. Like I don't have too many jokes like that, at least at the current state. But I'd like to be the type of comic where like I'd like to make the audience like think and laugh. Like I if I have to decrease the laughter so they can think, I'm fine with that. So it's not necessarily for the laughter I do comedy for. Does that make sense?
Wow.
It does. I mean, when you talk about Chappelle being your inspiration, there have been a couple of Chappelle specials. What was the one where he was like on the stool with the cigarette? And I was like, this is not funny.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is great. And I was like, but this is not like, I'm not like, I guess you would categorize it as comedy because it can make you laugh.
Yeah. My point is like my perspective is what I do the comedy for. It's like where I'm coming from over just like the overall laugh. Because to me, what I'm saying is funny. It might not, I used to, so that's why I'm saying I can't really answer that question, because it's like when I first started comedy, it was like, no, I just want to make the audience laugh,
right? Which
is good, but certain times what I noticed, I remember I had this girl telling me this. She was like, because I used to do a lot of crowd work, and which is of course I might roast the audience. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Because I mean, I remember killing. I used to kill. It's just the truth. I used to kill just roasting the audience. But I remember this girl after the show, she was like, "Oh, Dave, you're funny, but like, I don't know who you are." You know what I'm saying? And when she told me that, no, what she meant was that like I don't know where you're coming from.
Yeah,
like, you know what I'm
You
saying?
just-
That's
Yeah.
still a deep thing. To
And I was like,
That was good
damn.
though. That was good.
Because it's like, because if you really know who I am, you know, like I'm like, you know, I'm a very like I like to say like I'm not at the surface. Like, I like to peel the onion a little bit. Like if you really know me, but certain times like you know, I have and that's why I mean like I'm still kind of new because I'm still struggling on how to do that the best on stage because I'm still new. Like 4 years is not long enough.
Boy, I'm so glad you said that. There are 3 things you said I really appreciate. One, you're
yeah.
trying to find the art in this situation. And
Yeah.
I was me and Alice were having a conversation beforehand, and I wanted to ask you about crowd work. Because when he asked me when's the last time you saw live comedy, it's 10 years ago when I saw Dave Chappelle at Radio City Music Hall. And it's because what I see now in most comedy clubs is just crowd work. I haven't seen like a set.
Yeah.
And so I'm so glad to hear that you know that you could be funny doing this thing.
Yeah.
But you want to take it to another artistic level.
Yeah, man. Because
Why?
Well,
Because you could be perfectly successful. You could be Andrew Schultz tomorrow if you wanted to be.
honestly, and that's that means like Andrew Schultz, I think he's hilarious,
Yeah.
but. Because comedy has to come from like a true place. That's what I noticed. Because I did used to box, and like one thing I noticed about boxing was like I could tell my coach like, you know, I ran 3 miles, coach. Like, I did all the running. You know what I'm saying? I did the burp. Yeah, and then he'll be like, let's see, and then we'll spar, and I got like my nose all bloody, and I'm like, I get a black eye, and I'm getting punched in the face and all this, and it was like, you lied to me.
You lied.
You know what I'm saying?
You did not run them 3 miles.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, my point is like, dude, the audience knows what you're saying is true. And it's almost like you're like comedy is really just answering a question. It's just answering a lot of questions. For example, if I say the premise could be like, yeah, I walked on the street today. Then the audience is like, okay, well, what's next? You know what I'm saying? It's almost like you're like climaxing. You know, you're about to. It's like they want to come, but can I say that?
Yeah, sure, man.
Yeah,
We're not clean. That's okay. We're not clean.
But it's almost like they want to like orgasm, I should say. And then the whole idea of comedy is like the misdirect is the joke.
Yeah.
So it's. I forgot what my point was, but my idea is that like there's so much beauty in that than just making the audience laugh, because it's easy to just make somebody laugh. I can just say some wild and they're not laugh, but it's like I care for people, and you know I don't know where I got that from. I'd say God, but I genuinely care for people, and it's like. It's like if I do care for people, then I definitely want them to at least feel where I'm coming from, and you know, vice versa. Like I want to know why they're laughing.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I'll look at people's face while I'm on stage too. Like I'll be like, okay, this person didn't laugh. Huh. Yeah. Well, I say all this and then I'll watch our bomb tonight. I just come on stage. What happens to that perspective? I'm like, bro, it didn't work.
Where you from?
That's hilarious. Oh boy, I've been playing with
that's
Thank you.
Wow. Okay. There's so many things I could say. Let's say this though. So I've studied aesthetics, the philosophy under like art history. And there is a theory, and hold on to me for a second. There is a theory that when it comes to the form and function of art, people who have been marginalized cannot do one without the other. Or as W.E.B. Du Bois would say, like, if we're going to make art, it has to be propaganda for the liberation of my people. And so when I hear you say, like, I don't know why I want to do something beyond making people laugh, it reminds me that maybe you were trying to find the humanity people. You were trying to find the liberation within
That's
people.
Funny, man. I was actually talking to I have a girlfriend, by the way. I'm sorry. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, audience. I'm not saying I don't know.
You're a heartbreaker. There you go.
I'm sorry. I have a girlfriend, but I do. So, it was funny. We were just talking about that. It's actually kind of funny. It's like, I don't know where that came from. Like I even told her, I don't know why I care for people. I was like, is it like, I used to watch Spider-Man.
Right.
And
it
like,
might be.
Yeah, maybe I'm Spider-Man. I don't know. I was kidding. But I used to watch Spider-Man. It was just something about the fact that, you know, you have this guy who has all the power in the world, yet he uses it for good, and he doesn't even use it for his own gain. Like Spider-Man lives in like a broken up apartment. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he's a teenager and he has to do homework, yet he's here saving people. So it's just like the idea of like just making people feel happy is something that, I don't know, like just innately I've always loved doing. I'd say it comes from God, right? Yeah. You know, just like that idea of empathy and care was just what Jesus did, right, in the Bible. So it's like, you can say that's where it came from, and that's where I like to say it came from. But other than that, I don't know. I can't. Maybe.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. Empathy.
Yeah,
where it comes from. On this podcast. It's difficult to track. I think it's got like it's almost like fight or flight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. So like learned be like an innate learned behavior.
Yeah, I think it's. I think that like, 'cause like I said, having a girlfriend is telling me this is like certain times, you know, it's easy to just go back and forth, but like empathy really taught me like, oh, okay, I'm wrong, she's wrong, but what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? And it's like that's what empathy like has taught me in so many aspects. Even not just like that. Like, even like that's why I hit you up too. It's like understand like I messed up here. How to and that's another thing too because it takes two people for empathy. It's like, okay, I messed up here. Now can you give me a second chance, right? And
What do you do?
Yeah,
he was gonna do some comedy at the
at the joint. That's right.
Yeah.
You're good. Don't worry.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, because I remember that was like one thing that was like eating me alive. I was like, dude, I was supposed to do it. Even months after, I was like, dang. I was like, I gotta hit him up. And thank God for you. Like the fact that I'm able to be here. It's like this is so cool, man. So
no grudges.
You know,
Oh yeah, man. You're good, man.
This has been such a cool spot already. So
yeah, and that's. We kind of touched on it earlier, but it's funny. I met you at ESP,
right.
And this is a crazy coffee shop to be in Old Town because it's like very bohemian and like eclectic. It's not really Old Town to me.
Well, I mean, I guess I don't know Old Town in terms of just like the history of it. I know, I know a little bit of the history.
Yeah, I know you are.
Part of Old Town is actually built by old slave ships.
I know you're right.
It's crazy.
Well, I know about that, but it's like, and, you know, like the white people in Old Town now are just like you can just tell in their face like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah,
it's true though. My bad.
It's so true, bro. Like,
you know what I'm saying? So it's
my God.
So it's like maybe that's where I'm coming from. So now I know what you mean. You know, I know what you mean because it's like like when you go to Old Town, it's like everybody's just so nice to you.
Yes,
but it's like that performative nice though, where it's like, dang.
Oh, how are you? Are you okay?
Yeah. There are these like anomalies of places like that in Virginia, especially like in Richmond. It's Carytown, where it's like, when was the last time you saw someone upset in Old Town? Like it happens, but it's very rare.
Yeah, or it's like part like a blow up too, which is like a scary upset. Where I've seen a few of those. Yeah,
but it's one of those places where everyone's just like cheery.
Everyone's happy. Yeah. But yeah, it's funny, and it's funny. ESP, like I love that coffee shop a lot because when I see a lot of cool people there, and like a lot of lifelong friends that I've developed through that coffee shop. So if this is going, y'all go to ESP. It's a very dope spot.
Yeah, Galactic Panther, really cool art gallery that the owner also owns. It's like across the street. We have shows there too. Yeah.
I bet you've seen like. So before I even ask that question, tell me about like your comedy travels in like the DMV. What's the industry like here?
Oh man, I think it's always tell me what it. I think it's one of the best in terms of like if you want to start out comedy, I would start out here. That's what I would think. Just because what I've noticed at open mics, because there's open mics all around the world. But one thing about DC is that we will have an audience.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of spots, like I've been to New York, I've done comedy in New York, or at least the open mic scene, because the show scene in New York is one of the best.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But in terms of just like the open mics, if you want to start out, it's by far the worst. And I say that because, and it's like a big, what's it called? It's like a big,
gap.
It's like a gap. But like there's some open mics that are great, but most of the time it's like all down here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's tough. I've performed one time. I remember I went to a show and this guy was just venting about his wife. Like it was like, and there was no jokes. You could just tell he just came from work and he was like, "Yeah, my wife and this bitch." I remember. Like my thing is, I'm the type of comedian. I perform every day at that mic 7 times. I'm weird in that way where I love comedy enough to where it's almost like I perform at the worst spot 100 times. I don't even care. It's a bad thing.
It's like working out.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's like, the idea is that if you're a comedian, you want to be at the best spots, right? Yeah. Or you want to at least work on new stuff in front of an audience that like, or at least alive, because comedians most of the times are dead. But when it comes to just like, man, it's just tough, man. DC is by far, like I said, one of the best
for open mics.
I'd say.
The audience, there's a lot of audiences
at the open mics. But when it comes to like just like the Mecca, I've heard people tell me moving to New York is probably the best, just because New York. That's why Dave Chappelle moved to New York from DC when he was 17. He was able to be famous within I think 2-3 years after that. You know what I'm saying? Or even probably even before that, honestly.
Do you think that they're I think I can answer my question here, but there's probably less comedians than there are musicians. It's probably got a smaller competition. I don't know.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
Who are your peers? Yeah, that's a good
question. Yeah, I think that there are definitely probably more musicians, sure. But something with comics is that one thing I noticed, at least about the comics, there's definitely a lot of comedians. At least in DC alone, if I had to estimate, they perform at least 4 times a week. There's about around 150 to 200 comedians, at least in DC alone.
That's nothing, honestly.
Well, at least I should say in the DMV area.
Who are out there?
Who are out there in DC? About somewhere around 150 to 200. How many of them are actually it's probably out of the 150 to 200, maybe 100 of them are okay, this guy's is funny, and then about 30 of them are actually oh, these guys are killers. You know what I'm saying? And maybe more, maybe less, depending on your subjective opinion.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? So. Yeah, and what I do love about the comedy community though is that we are very close though.
Okay,
and we're all we all for example, whenever I go to New York, I know that I have friends in New York that can put me on their shows because of what I've done for them here in DC.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's like a give and take.
Show swap. Yeah, you know that's a sign of a healthy community.
Yeah, I would say for the most part, there's definitely high school moments where you know what I'm saying, you might sleep with a lady comic and it made it weird. And
shit.
Not saying I've done that, but I've heard stories.
And then you're in her set the next day, bro.
But that, you know what I'm saying? But that's, and I'm sure in all aspects of, jobs or whatever, but there are moments where it's this guy said maybe the wrong word. Maybe this guy, you said the N-word, white dudes just said the N-word.
Shit.
And it's
that happens?
I mean.
On stage?
I heard one story. I heard one story about it happening.
Crazy.
I know, right? Yeah. And then it's that. And then it's that thing too, where it's okay, well, was it funny at least, or
was it funny?
You know what I'm saying? Was it funny? Or were you just being racist? You know what I'm saying? So it's because we all have different. There's comedians that are Democratic and there's comedians that are Republican too. So it's it can be that class. You know what I'm saying? So it's always moments, but we are pretty close for the most part.
I'm gonna prompt BMO to ask a question.
Yeah.
Tell him about what we were trying to get to with the offensiveness.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So okay. So we were talking right before you came in. We were talking. I'm so curious to figure out. Okay. Let me just preface this away. I have a very resourced friend who's been applying to be in the TikTok Creator Fund for 10 times. They tried it and. By all accounts, their material is not explicit, but they do talk about race.
Sure.
So they've been denied this creator fund. So this person tells me, I'm going to sue TikTok.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. I've never heard, most creators are coming at it from a point of I'm going to change my content or change my name so I'll fit into TikTok and not I'm going to sue the thing.
Right.
And I was like, that's an interesting strategy.
Right.
And so I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about these platforms like an Instagram, like a TikTok, like an X, who are soft censoring you so that you can be monetizable on that platform?
Man, that's my thing. I'm a comedian. Freedom of speech is the one thing that that's probably the strongest thing that I am politically is just freedom of speech. You know what I'm saying? Left, right, middle, whatever. It's I just love being able to say whatever I want. You know what I'm saying? So I don't like when certain types of companies or whatever try to withhold that, because that's literally what our country is based upon. That's the first thing.
It's the first
the best thing to have.
It's being able to just say whatever I want. So I don't like being able to constrict it. I think that's weird. But I feel you. I feel that. But it's my thing is that I just like being able to make people laugh. So it's if I have to censor it in some way, then it's okay, I can make it work. At least on TikTok.
Yeah.
But on stage, when I was younger, I would probably say the same thing where it's I'll probably censor it and just try to make it work for the audience. I might not do a tough joke just because I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, right?
Right.
But now I'm at the level of comedy where I'm I might say something wild. And it's okay. If you get upset at me, I could at least question you why you're upset. You know what I'm saying?
So as I hear you talking about you want things more than laughs.
Yeah.
Right. So like, where does offense? I feel like offense is a response like applause. Like, so where does offense rank in your desired response? Do you want to offend people? Is that a desired?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, my thing is that like there are things that I quite like because the reason why I noticed I started comedy is because like certain things just didn't make sense to me, and whenever I try to make sense of it, then that's where the funny starts coming. So you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because like for example, right? Prom, right? Like you know, we go to prom. It's the thing that we do to society. We go to prom, you know, around senior year, whatever. I say we go, but we don't. We spend like sometimes $1,000 for like one night. Yeah. And a lot of times people just want to have sex. Like that's just really what it's for, right? If you think about it. Yeah, and it's like my thing is that like I'm not going. That doesn't make sense. Also, I didn't have a date. I definitely didn't have one. But it's like, but my point is that's what's funny to me. At least I've noticed in my life is that whenever I try to make sense of something, that's where the funnies came in my life. So that's why, I mean, you know, you only know how to make something work with how it's been working. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, I would love to be the type of comic where I could just like, you know, there's comics that do stuff I'm like, I can't do. I can't like, you know, some comics that would be that edgy where they're like I remember Aries Spears did a thing where he like kissed a dude. I can't do that. You know, right? That's not what I can do.
even for money though.
Not in my wheelhouse.
Even for money, I can't do it.
Shit,
yeah, that's like my thing is like I have very strong principles.
Yeah.
And I can't like if I bend my principles, then you can just bend me, and that means two things. That literally means two things. So yeah, I can't. Yeah, but I can't do that. Yeah. That's like the whole thing with Diddy and the whole comedians wearing a dress thing that everybody talks about is that like would you wear a dress as a comedian? So.
Well, would you? Well, no. You know what? I'm not going to answer that question.
No, yeah, for free.
There is so Cat Williams. It's been like 11 months now. So Cat Williams went on Club Shay Shay, and then I finally heard Steve Harvey respond to him, and he said that Cat Williams broke the rules because comedians are supposed to support each other. It's not supposed to be like I'm tearing you down because of your comedic stance. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a good question, man. I'm two sides too. I've heard comedians say. I've heard this one comedian who I really look up to. His name is Justo. I'm going to just keep on name dropping comedians that I really respect. Justo, y'all need to check him out. Very funny guy. And he said something that like I agree with. Because you're right. I think that comedy's already a tough thing. It's a tough thing. Like even when you're good at comedy, there are comedians that I know right now that I perform with. Yeah. These are very funny guys. Funnier than people that you probably paid money to see. Yet they're not even making any money because it's a tough sport, right? Yeah. So my point is, why push somebody down when it's already a tough thing? You know what I'm supposed to do? Work together. So I agree with that. But then there's also this side to where it's like it was entertaining, like it was funny. It was what he was saying was like it was like one of those things where it's like, oh wow, they said they all do have light skinned girls. You know what I'm saying? It's funny. It's funny. So you start. It is kind of funny, but then and then my thing is like, I didn't even watch all of it honestly, if I could be honest, but. I don't know. It's a tough thing, man. Like, what is he do? I don't know, man. My thing is, I actually agree with Cat Williams, where it's like you want to bring the darkness to the light. That's why I started doing stand-up comedy. For example, I talked about prom, right? Those are things that people don't really think about. That's what comedy is at the end of the day. Like, what is funny is something that you see, but you don't see it in that way. Yeah. So it's like the truth in a way where you have to kind of bend it. Forgive me, but bend it over a little bit. You're like, oh, that's okay. That's a butthole. You know what I'm saying? Oh, wow. So but that's what comedy is. It's almost like, you know what I'm saying? What Cat Williams said was, he was right. Like, Diddy came out and, stuff with Diddy came out based after, what Cat Williams had said. There were certain things that were like, was under private and raps. It was like Cat Williams was accurate with that. So it's like, he's doing what comedy is. So it's like, can you be mad at him for doing what, like he literally... Comedians are stealing jokes. We don't like that, And I think he comments. I didn't watch all of it, but did he say that? Yeah, a couple stealing jokes. Jokes. Mm-hmm. Actually, I met one of the comedians that he said. I think his name is Plasko. I forget his name, but yeah, we don't play with that. Like, if you steal a joke, it's like, we don't play with that. So.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's like, we don't like that. Like, no, you can't steal a joke.
Oh, well, is that only in stand up? Because I feel like I see replications of the same. Yeah. Like you'll have a content creation TikTok and somebody will do the same thing. Some people might even like just take your face out and just dub themselves over.
Man, this is a beautiful conversation because literally I'm about to go to New York and this guy that I'm about to meet in New York, First of all, he has way more followers than me. But when I was like 19, and at that point I was doing TikTok for a year, and I remember he like did a video that was just like mine.
Yeah.
But it went more viral. And this is when I stopped posting. Like I was probably posting like once a week, and I was like, this guy's stealing my content. And then people were DMing me like, yo, this guy's stealing your content. And then eventually I saw his stuff, and I was like, this is kind of funny though. Like he's stealing it, but it's like he's killing it though. Right. It's pretty. Like I was laughing. I was like, I did this way. I ain't doing it that way.
Yeah.
But then eventually it's like, well, he was a black dude, so I was like, ain't nothing wrong. If a black dude is being successful, that's all I care about. You know what I'm saying? Black in general. So that was the first thing. And then I talked to him, and then he was just he's from, he was London. So he was like, bruv, I love your videos, bruv. And I was like, yeah, man, I appreciate it. And, and I'm about to meet him in New York probably Wednesday. So I might go up there. He's from United Kingdom. So it's like the one time he's in New York. So it's one of those things where it's like, if it's online and social media, you're selling an idea for a skit, that's not really stand-up comedy, so it's like, I'm okay if you were to even steal my content. If I steal somebody else's content, I guess that's cool. I wouldn't do it intentionally, or I might ask somebody if I could steal it.
Right.
But for stand-up, I'm very tough on myself. And there are moments where I might say a joke that I think was funny, but then I found out somebody else said it online. Yeah. I was like, all right, I guess I can't do this anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true.
That's happened multiple times, at least in my life. Yeah, or at least in my, doing stand-up.
Bro, I would imagine, at your age, especially as like vibrant as the internet has been in your life, you've probably heard so many fucking jokes.
Oh my God, man, that's one thing me and my friend argued about the other day. It's like, bro, doing comedy right now is so tough. Like when Will Smith and Chris Rock got smacked, you know what I mean? All those jokes, all the jokes that were taken, like I can't do it.
Within 10 minutes.
Right? It's like, it's tough, being a comedian, at least nowadays, because back in the day, there was no Twitter.
Right.
If we wanted to hear a joke, we got to go and see Seinfeld, you know what I'm saying? True. We got to, we got to go to the comedy club or, tell our friends, but it's like now it's like you go online and just search up, just get comedians too nowadays. Yeah. You just go on Drewski or Desi Banks, and, those guys can make you laugh and stuff like that. So,
what do you think, not to put you on the spot, but
sure. At this point,
as I see the proliferation of skit comedy growing even faster than stand-up comedy, do you still think stand-up is the golden standard for comedy, or
that's a good question, man.
Is that still the main form of comedy?
Because there's that's a great question, because I want to say his name, but I'm really trying to be positive.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this because I think y'all want to hear the name. Okay, but I'm gonna tell you what. This guy named Brandon T. Jackson. I'm sure y'all know him.
Yeah.
And I met him, right? And I just remember his entourage knew my videos, right?
Right.
And I just remember, and I was also weird too. I'm not gonna put all on him. I was also kind of antagonizing, making him feel uncomfortable. But I remember he said this thing where it's like, man, y'all TikToks, man, I can't stand y'all. Yeah. And then he was like, y'all can bring in an audience, but I can't do what I do. You know what I'm saying? Because he was at a show at the Loft maybe last year. And this is his, he didn't fill it up like he wanted to. So there is that sense of being able to, skit comedy, the way you monetize it a lot of the times, you want to do a show.
Right.
And comedy, that's probably the easiest way to, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Let's do a show, y'all see me, I get paid, y'all get to see me from being on the phone and stuff like that.
Right.
I can easily do that technically. It's I can just easily do a show and sell it out, and it's easy, but it's stand-up is all talent. You have to write these jokes, perform them. It takes years for you to hone it and stuff like that. So there's I don't remember your question, so forgive me, but it's there's there's two sides to it where it's I want to have both. I want to be a good comic, great comic.
Right.
Also be great on social media so that when they see me in person, they're like, yo, this guy's really good. You know what I'm saying? But I've hosted for some dudes who were just skit comics, and they just go up there, say whatever. They might kill. They might do very badly, but they're like, I made money at the end of the day. I've seen that. I've said that many times. I've hosted for that many times.
The question I asked before you came in was is he going to be funny?
Yeah.
Because
that's fair. That's fair.
I didn't know, because we have funny content creators and we have comedians who are content creators.
Yeah.
And so I've seen a lot of content creators. They walk in the room, it's just like a normal dude. Nigga, you funny? It's you legit funny.
Appreciate that.
And so I one of my final questions to you is what are some of the artistic parts of comedy that you feel are missing from this social media, very pop comedy era that we're in right now?
Good question, man. What's missing from social media comedy?
Yeah.
That's a good question, man.
I see a lot of crowd work. I see that a lot. I see very little sets. I see very little original jokes.
It's tough, man. I think right now, I mean, this is my opinion. I guess I could think about it deeply, but I think right now it's at a good state in terms of like, the idea is, okay, you post a crowd work, but the reason why at least me or other comedians will post crowd work is because, you know, a lot of times it's tough to write material. Yeah. It takes.
You want to get your good jokes off for free. I got you.
Yeah.
I got it. Okay, I got you.
I mean,
yeah.
That's a
Why
lot
don't I put my special joke on the carousel, bro? I feel you.
So that's a lot of what it could be. I mean, I'm speaking for myself and other people, but that's at least for me. It's like, sometimes like I'm still new. It's like all these jokes that I have, I need them. I can't just, you know what I'm saying? It's like I only have like 5 minutes. It's like I can't be, giving out my 5 minutes.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? I need these jokes. I need these jokes. So it's like, that's me. But I agree, because it's like when you see crowd work, it starts to get boring just to see. You see like maybe like a certain comedian be like, where you guys from? Where do y'all work? It's like it's tough. But it's like sometimes it's like that's all we got, Yeah. And that's on the stand-up front, but on skit comedy, right now I like skit comedy a lot. Like I think I'm trying to do more skits. I want to be better at it, because I'll see like Drewski. I think he's great at skits.
Oh man,
yeah, he's
skits
so
are
good.
A1.
Yeah, he's like
so good.
So far, I'd like to do stuff like that, man. Drewski kills it, and other guys like Drewski, like. Like there's a lot of them, like Desi Banks, and even guys from like this area, like Goofies and stuff like that. It's like these guys are very talented, man. And I like to get better, at both fronts. But skit comedy specifically is something I still struggle with.
Okay,
that's an interesting answer. I'm seeing the big differences between musicians and comedians. And like the other thing is, comedy shows are expensive.
Are they?
Like when it gets
when it gets to that level, right.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more expensive than going to see a intermediate musician. You know what I mean?
I would say the opposite. I feel like. Well, it depends. It depends, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, for example, you can go if you want to see like an intermediate, like a good show. You can go around the corner. It's like $20, maybe $25. You can see
$20-25. Yeah,
a show is hour 30 minutes. Like there's a spot I host a lot for the past 2 years. It's called Hotbed. It's just like literally like 5 minutes away.
True. Yeah, I heard Hotbed. Yeah,
and it's like, dude, I'm performing there actually tonight at 11:30, and it's like,
nice.
Dude, those shows are great. You know what I'm saying? It's like $25.
$25.
But then, of course, if it's like a celebrity or like a name, then it's like that's when it's like $60 and or $100.
60 would even, it gets into the hundreds 200 real fast.
Especially if they're at a club too. Like if they improv, it's gonna be like 120.
It's gonna be like 100.
Crazy.
Like I remember, even for me, I think Godfrey's here this weekend too. By the way, is Godfrey? Yeah, somebody even stopped by the improv.
How you feel about Godfrey, man?
I met him. I just met him recently. I'm about to see him again. Hopefully, I can meet him again. It's today, November. Yeah, so I'm gonna see him today.
Okay, bet.
I'm gonna see because he's in DC right now. So I'm gonna say what's up to him. But I met him, and he's there's two things. And the second thing is going to be a lot longer, I'm going to say. But the first thing is that, Godfrey, when I met him, I mean, like I said, he was hitting a lot of spots, and he was like a little bit hard to talk to, which is okay. But he said a lot of kind things to me, which was cool. But the second thing, I love the guy. I adore the guy. I think the guy, we look a little similar too.
Y'all do kind of look alike.
Yeah.
Y'all do kind of look alike.
I get called one of Dave Chappelle's mentors that's still here, Tony Woods. I
know Tony Woods.
Yeah, Tony Woods always calls me Godfrey, which is hilarious. I look up to Godfrey. We have similar upbringing, so I look up to him in so many different ways. So and I think he's the type of comic where I'd like to be. I like to be like a Godfrey type of comic where his act outs are beautiful. He does a lot of impressions. I do a lot of them. I would say a lot. I have about 10 impressions I could do. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, like Godfrey, he's.
You got impressions, bro?
Yeah, I do.
I'm not gonna put you on the spot, but I've always felt like of the comedy skills, impressions gotta be top 2.
That's fair. You think
impressions, because everybody has to know.
Yeah,
we all have to be on the same of accord, and unlike an offensive joke or even like a story, some people might get it, some people might miss it. But if you're trying to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, we all know what Arnold Schwarzenegger sounds like.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, and one thing about impressions that's funny is like when you try it on stage and it doesn't work, it's so embarrassing. Do you understand? Because if I tell you a joke and it's not funny, it's okay. Well, that wasn't funny.
Yeah.
But if I'm doing an impression, for example, I might do like Arnold. I'm like and I'm going into it and nobody's laughing. It's a different type of like. I'm just going in for like 3 sentences. I'm just going in for like 3 sentences, and people are just like, yo, he's really. But then it starts to get funny because like, yo, this guy really thinks this is funny.
That's funny.
So I'm still trying to work impressions into my game. I could do an impression, but I'm doing it on stage. That's something that I'm still trying to. I struggle with because it's like, it takes a certain type of confidence to go up there and just be like, yeah, I'm gonna be Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
It's like, all right, well, let's hear the joke. Yeah. It's Jay Farrow and Godfrey and a lot of other guys. They do it so well. Killers, yeah. 100%. But yeah, I'm definitely stopped by DC Improv. You just reminded me.
You're killing me, man. Yeah.
So if you weren't doing comedy, what else would you be doing?
So, man, you guys ask good questions.
Hey, man, we journalists, you know?
I appreciate it. I actually journalist?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
3-time Emmy nominated.
Oh, man, I didn't know this.
3-time loser, baby.
You know, I never been nominated for an Emmy, you know?
We out there, though. Yeah, we here.
And I know he dropped W.E.B. Du Bois. Is that
W.E.B. Du Bois.
He dropped him. I was like, this guy might be. It might be a little. I've heard that's his high school.
Yeah, that's real shit.
Wait,
W.E.B. Du Bois. He's like a psychologist. I think.
Yeah, he's like a psychologist from the 20s. Yeah.
Yeah. But what would I mean? That's a great question. Like that's one thing people ask me all the time. Man, I don't even know because I am an introvert. So it'd probably be something where I'm like out the way. You know what I'm saying? That's why I like comedy because I can just tell a joke. And then after my set, I could just go home. You know what I'm saying? Or I might hang out with comics because we're all like kind of introverted. So it kind of makes this fun. So I'm not gonna lie to you. I've heard this a lot. Maybe a pastor I'll probably be.
A pastor?
It makes sense. I think you've cussed once.
Yeah, did I?
Yeah, and I'm starting to think you might be kind of clean.
I'm very recent. I've been clean recently.
Yeah,
recently. I used to cuss on the storm, but yeah, recently I stopped. It's tough because a lot of the times if I just say the F word, bro, like it's like
people will laugh.
People know exactly what I mean. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And usually the F word is like you're angry.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like I could just easily say that, but now I gotta be like, yeah, that made me really upset, which is like a lot more words, which is tougher. But you know,
why'd you choose to clean it up?
That's a great. So I started going back to church.
Yeah.
And then it was like this idea of, you know, not to say that Christians can curse, right? But the idea is like, what am I saying? Do I need to curse to say it? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not, because cursing, technically it's man-made. I mean, if you're looking at it, it's like man-made. Like, for example, if I say you're stupid, that's technically cursing them. I don't need to say the F word. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is that like, okay, I want to be able to talk in a courtroom the same way I'm talking here, or the same way I'm talking to a child. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if I have to talk to a child and not curse and feel uncomfortable, it's like then maybe I shouldn't be saying what I'm saying. So that's where it did start biblical, but then eventually I just applied it to my life, and I was like, oh, I guess
that sounds very much into you're saying like I'm trying to get just beyond the laugh because you can cuss somebody out and it's the easy laugh.
And I used to, it's so easy. It's so easy. Oh my, you don't understand how easy it was just to be like, yeah, man, it's
F that.
That's stupid. Yeah. But you know, there are comics that, man, like Jerry Seinfeld doesn't curse. I personally, people don't think he's funny. I think he's hilarious. I think what he does for comedy is insane. I don't know how he's able to.
It is.
I don't know how he's able to. Yeah. Well, Dave Chappelle definitely curses, but some of the ideas that he has is funny, and then you add that curse word to it, and it's even funnier.
Even funnier.
You know what I'm saying? But I just need to keep on. Like I said, I've been in comedy maybe like a month ago, 4 years. And it's like, I'm still new. Yeah. They say it takes 10 years to be funny. That's arguable. I think it takes about 4 years, depending on how hard you work at it. Maybe 2-3 years.
Whoa.
I think you could be at least funny. Like I go up on stage and I don't try to be funny, and I'm funny. I think it takes about 2 years to get to that point. And then it's like almost like jiu-jitsu, where it's like you have white belt, blue belt, purple belt, black belt, right?
That sounds a lot like podcasting to be honest. And broadcast. I mean, honestly, like
I think it's like most things, for sure.
Yeah. After that 3rd year, it's kind of like automatic. I'm not even thinking about.
Yeah, and I can tell you guys been doing it for a minute because I feel comfortable.
I haven't really. I've been interviewing people, but I'm not traditionally podcasting. He has.
Yeah, I've been podcasting for like 7 years now.
Oh my goodness! But you know, y'all both like mesh well together because it's like,
we got that chemistry, baby.
Yeah, 100%. Y'all have known each other for many years, I guess.
No.
Oh, y'all could have fooled
3.
Y'all could have fooled me.
Yeah, about as long as you've been doing comedy.
What you talking about? What comedy specifically?
Yeah, as long as you've been doing comedy, as long as we know each other.
Ah, wow.
Yeah.
Dang. Well, yeah, you guys, definitely. This is like one of the coolest. But I had trouble finding it.
Oh yeah, it is a little.
The joint is a cut.
But this is a cool spot. I always like art and stuff like Diego. Oh, Diego did the art here.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I perform at a room that Diego's.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, 808.
Yep.
Yeah,
That joint beautiful.
Yeah, I performed there. Like, you know, I performed there yesterday. I'm probably gonna perform. I actually think I performed today. But yeah. But yeah, it's one of those.
Wow.
Yeah, it's funny. Diego was here. He's dope. He is talented.
He's amazing, man.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite parts of the podcast is the backdrop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is cool, man. And yeah, man, I just want to say, like, I think what you guys are doing, you guys only talk to artists? If you know.
Yeah.
It's funny, I'm interviewing you guys now.
What you were asking us some questions though?
What was the last? What did I ask you? Yeah, like what type of? I'm assuming you guys like interview artists.
Yeah.
Artists,
Musicians. Right? We've had Diego on this podcast before. Right. Episode 16 was with Summer Hill, so she's also a podcaster.
Gotcha.
But yeah, you're our first comedian.
Yeah.
We just,
cool.
we always try to. It's music, art, and culture.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that goes within.
But I hope I was a fun
No,
guest.
you are. I love comedy so much, and I appreciate your love and passion for it. And I look forward to like how you.
I could definitely do better, dude. I just got a girlfriend and like, slow me
That's an
down.
extra 5 minutes though. Girlfriend's another 5. Man, what you talking about?
It slowed me down a little bit, and more on me, not on her. More on me. Just like first girlfriend, so it's like just figuring out how to make that work with comedy. Because I'm out late night sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes like I got home last night like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Which is like, you know, so it's like, you know, but now I've adjusted to having a girlfriend and doing stand up, and now it's like, okay, now I'm ready to like actually be good at this. You know?
Yeah, I had to do the same thing when I got a puppy.
Same, I have a lady as well. Like there are, you gotta. You talking about this puppy? No, but it's if you got the one that you're supposed to be with, like trust and understanding will be there. So when you walk in there too, I walked in. We came home from Richmond. Actually, I came home from Richmond, and. You know, in the stereotypical like movie, your girl had been pissed waiting up for you. You barely beat the sum home. But I walked in and she had like a hot piece of pizza and a blunt, and I was like, "This is lovely. This is lovely. I like you. This is great. This is great." Yeah. But something that you said, one of the first things you said is that you heard Dave Chappelle was coming to town, and you told your girlfriend that you couldn't make the date.
Well, it was a girl. It was a girl. I was dating.
Yeah, it wasn't quite the.
It wasn't. It wasn't. Yeah. Yeah.
As LeBron says, the sacrifice for great men often comes at the sacrifice of loved ones. So, yeah.
And like I said, I think it took us a minute because comedy is a weird thing to like sign up on board to be with, especially if you don't love it. Like going to Baltimore, sometimes Virginia, then to DC. I'm driving to New York. Then I've drove to Boston. And you know, to be around it, that's a lot of moving around. I feel uncomfortable. You know, we've slept in a car together. You know what I'm saying? It's a tough thing, but she sees how much I love it, and she's like, "Yeah, if you love it like this," and it's like, "Yeah, I'll figure it out. I love it too." So it's like important. The fact that she understands, she's helped me out in tremendous ways in terms of just like she's cooking me food. Yeah. I think she's cooking me food right now. You know what I'm saying? It's
lovely.
Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, to have that, it's like, okay, I'd rather have that than just be by myself. I can't cook, you know what I mean? I can't cook, and you know, she's great.
Yeah, okay.
In all aspects.
1 minute left. Finisher.
Yeah.
How'd that come together? Which is the dance.
That's the dance that I did
on your TikTok.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. I did not wear this on purpose. But Finisher, it was a dance that's already pop. Like people do it, right? But I did it in a way where I thought it was funny. Because I was like, people were doing it like it wasn't like a funny dance. Like people were doing it like it was like sexual almost. It was like I was like, this is no way somebody's gonna have sex with a guy that does this. So I thought it was funny. So I just kind of did it in a way where I was just mocking it, and then it like blew up, and to the point where when I didn't do it, people were like, "Yo, where's this finisher?" And I was like, even to this day, people still be like, "Yo, like we haven't done it in like 3 videos. What's going on?" And yeah, so now now it's like you know I made merch for it, and now like you know I haven't been posting on social media, so now about to get back to that and just do more finishers.
Yeah, you better finish.
Post more videos.
Post more finishers.
Thanks for listening, y'all.
If you get a chance to subscribe, like, download, and follow, we really appreciate it. You can find us on Instagram at TheReUp, ODCAST. You can also find us on Patreon for exclusive content. New episodes every other Thursday. Thanks for your trust. Appreciate y'all.